to post.
I am recording now.
Oh, no, not right now.
That's my child. I'm sorry. But I'm recording, guys.
Oh,
Okay.
so how long are we supposed to have the discussion? How long?
It says there was no really format to it. We just have to have an in-depth conversation about the article.
Okay.
The article.
And so we just upload this instead of typing out a post, correct?
Right. I think that's
Right. We have to do the upload, and then we have to do some talking points as to what we talked about.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why.
On this?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Somebody wants to take notes?
On our discussion.
And then on the case studies, we have to write like a paper, right? But only one of us turns it in?
Yes.
Only one person turns it in. Yes.
I'll tell you what, this shell has kind of confused me a little bit for this
I'm
class.
so confused.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we just talk about our talking points on here. We don't have to post additional talking points after the video, correct?
We do have to post talking points as well.
Okay.
Because if
Oh,
you read just once.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be in our discussion share for the group.
Gotcha.
Right. And then Dr. Marks get the review.
So as we are discussing, one person is kind of taking notes. So those would be the talking points.
Mhm.
Right.
I don't want to be in charge of uploading because I had a horrible time doing that before. So I'll take notes.
I'm recording right now, so I'll upload stuff. Do you guys want me to just take notes this week too and just do all of it, or?
It's up to you.
I can do it.
I mean, you said that you
Hold in, so we're good. So let
Maybe
me.
we can just each. Let you go.
I'll pull up a paper and then start taking notes.
Somebody else can take the notes. That's fine.
I got it.
I think, yeah. Oh, you're taking notes?
Yeah, I can take another.
You can do all of it.
I'll just upload the video and the notes. No problem.
Are you sure you don't want me to do the notes?
Because Jennifer said she could do the notes.
Okay. All right. Sure.
I'll do the notes. Let me find my pen. I came out here prepared. I'm not prepared.
I don't know what happened.
We don't either.
Okay.
So, then I wait for you to post the video, and then I write the talking points underneath it, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I'll
We're gonna
post it right after this, so it'll be there for you.
All right, I'll do that tonight then. So
this was very interesting article. And it did, process with the different scriptures that they put in there, and also the other religions that they added in there. And I believe in the word. I believe in the Bible. So I believe in. I can't believe in the Bible. So if you believe in the Lord, you have to believe in the spirits. And it's interesting because I have a client right now who says she sees spirits, and she has seen them since she was a child. And they've had her on meds, but they don't go away. They don't go away. So I mean, I believe that they need counseling. I do believe in spirits, and I guess it depends on what do you start with them? You start with the counseling. Do you call them crazy? I would never call them crazy because, I believe in the spirit realm.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that, sorry, were you done? Or no? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, one thing that I kind of actually struggled with this article was how they chose to talk about how schizophrenia was like how they drove away the ghosts of psychosis. However, they also talked about in the Bible how possession or that there were evil spirits in those with many different things, like the seizures, being deaf, having disabilities. Like,
Right.
so I guess I didn't quite know how to process that. Like, is everything based on possession and evil spirits? I mean, I've never heard somebody say, I've never heard the church say, oh, that person has cancer. Well, she smoked a joint when she was in high school, so she's got cancer now. Like, as like a sin type of thing. You know what I mean? So I'm confused on how to interpret that.
So can I jump in a little bit?
Yes, Alicia.
So I was actually thinking about this, and I love that we're having this discussion, because I think it's really important for all of us to really wrestle with it.
Right.
With that said, I agree with you, D'Anthony. Like, if we say that we follow Christ, then we have to believe, like the Bible is his word, and that's that. I don't know, however, that it's that black and white or simple when you start to wrestle with these things.
Right.
So I would say that there are a multitude of different possibilities with every single individual that we encounter.
Mm-hmm.
And so to say that every single schizophrenic case is demonic, I think we're wrong. I think also to say that no depression has anything to do with the spiritual realm is wrong. So I think that there's aspects of it, maybe not in every case, but we have to be aware that there could be aspects of it in every case. Right. We also need to be open to the fact that maybe it's not a part of this case.
Right.
Of course.
And so, like reading the different examples that you just pointed out, Jennifer, in the article, when you read about it, yeah, that was demonic. Jesus did stuff with it. Awesome. Does that mean that every time you meet someone that is deaf, they have something demonic happening? I don't think so. So I think we just have to be a little careful with that. And we have to be careful with how we actually talk to our clients about it, because I remember I did my research paper on DID, and in the DSM-5, they actually talk about how culturally we have to be extremely open to the fact that some people will say that's demonic, and some people will not, different cultures, different religions, etc. So we might not even be dealing with a Christian client that also takes into the viewpoint that maybe this is demonic, So it might be a different spiritual realm, but they're still coming from it thinking it's a spiritual thing. Or you might be dealing with someone who doesn't see that at all. So I don't know. It's just a really interesting topic. And I don't think that you can say black and white, this is it. I think it's a client by client thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with
I just
was going to say,
okay, go ahead.
Saying like one of her clients still sees people or spirits. And then there are schizophrenics who take medication and don't see anything or hear anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's going to be biochemical, and sometimes it's maybe something else.
Yeah.
I was just thinking when you were talking about Jennifer, just to get what you were saying, when you gave an example about somebody smoking some weed or something, then I know. Kind of when you said that, what came to mind was I don't know what passage it is in the Bible now where Jesus was going to pray for somebody, and they said, what did he do or something? And Jesus said there was nothing that he did,
Right. Yeah.
So it was not a sin that he committed that made him be that. It was, it wasn't something that he did or something that he experienced or whatever. Nobody did anything.
Right.
That was what came to mind. So I don't know how to put that together. So again, it's kind of all confusing in a way. So we like we're all saying, we have to be careful, even though to an extent. For me, cultural wise, like I was reading somewhere today, we're talking about I think it was the first page. We're talking about the concept of ghost and spirit. Where I come from, yes, when people have the ghost and spirit, they don't have. It's just except for nowadays that they are getting there's this awareness about mental illness and all the chemical imbalance. But before then, used to be like when somebody was acting out or say they are seeing ghosts, it was something demonic. So in the church, everything, they didn't have counselors or whatever. Then you have to go to church to get delivered. So it's kind of very shaky, if I can use that word, to kind of just go this extreme. You cannot go this extreme and go this extreme. And again, I work in a psychiatric unit. There are some people you will see. I go like, this one is not chemical, but this is demonic. Like when you see them act out, like, I'm sorry, you can't tell me anything. So at the same time, we have to be careful, Okay, so.
And I agree with you, Rachel, because I think this is a great topic, because really in this field, I believe if I wasn't at CCU, they would not even be talking about it. They wouldn't talk about it. Would just be schizophrenic. That's all I've ever heard, is that somebody's just schizophrenic. Somebody's having, they hear voices, somebody's talking to them, and they're just a schizophrenic. I have not heard until, I believe, like I said, I believe in the word, but in this field, I never heard somebody say, okay, that person has a spirit in them. It's always some type of diagnosis with a client, and if it's so bad, then they're given medication. Medication. And dealing with clients in the medication, a lot of them don't the medication or how it makes them feel, but they don't like hearing the voices either, and nobody ever talks about, could it be something else? I think there's questions that we have to ask to ensure that we are servicing the client whole, making sure they're whole. We can't just say that is some type of diagnosis, especially if it's not working for them. So I think we have to look at the whole picture. And I like this article because it talks about the different strategies that are listed in the outline in the Bible. For example, when David played the music for him, he calmed down. So music is, a therapy that people use.
It doesn't always have to be medication, yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't just about demonic. It was, to me, it was talking about how counseling is in the Bible. So that they did use strategies to help the people where they were at,
Right.
And to add another dimension to that, so like the patients that I see, a lot of them are super hyper religious, and we can't talk about religion because they'll just go off on a tangent. So we can't even address that side of it because it will be harmful to them to indulge in that hyper religious behavior.
Right.
Now, why would it be harmful to them? I'm just
because
asking.
If they're so obsessive about that, we kind of need to bring them back to reality a little bit. Like, these people are severely mentally disabled.
Okay.
And like heavily, like 4 or 5 comorbidities. Like, just like if someone was hypersexual, you wouldn't talk to them about sex, type of thing.
Okay.
So, just in that aspect, because you don't want to indulge in that behavior because it can be harmful to them. Because they're like, oh well, I can jump off this bridge and Jesus will save me.
Right. Okay.
They won't understand the concept. Like what you said now, I think it's in this article to where you talk about people hearing voices. That has become like a common thing now. So, like we have a client in our unit. Not all of a sudden she's like she hears God telling her to harm the staff. That kind of person. She's so religious because she knows that I'm having a baby. So she comes to me. At first she told me she was going to punch my stomach, right? Now she comes to me. She's like, oh, what she does in front of me, I'm like, okay, please stop. This is very creepy. And then she comes up with like she's hearing voices that God is telling her to kill the staff. So that's kind of the same way you are saying, Jennifer. It's like you can't discuss religion or Christianity with that kind of a person because to her she does not have that concept of okay, God does not tell you to do bad things. All she knows
don't have those healthy boundaries.
Right. She's very kind of irrational with her thoughts. As far as she knows, God is telling her to go kill somebody. and she's gonna go do that. So we have to really be careful discussing things. So yeah, this kind of topic is very it's complicated. I don't know.
It is.
But at the same time, we cannot say everything is. I mean, we cannot say there's nothing demonic about those things. That nobody can tell me anything about that. Like there's a little bit of demonic stuff around most of these things. Yeah.
But it's not just talking about the demonic. It talks about God. It talks about Paul on the road to Damascus when he was converted to Christianity. So it talks about the whole spirit realm.
Right.
Good and bad. You know, so but the question is, was he delusional? You know, but did he really hear this? You know, because the topic that it has up under here was the description consistent with delusion and hallucination, you know, experiences. So did they put it up under that title because they thought he was a delusional, or did they want to challenge us to think? You know, I
think it's to challenge us to think. Like it's kind of, it goes back to what we're just talking about. The lady hearing voices about God asking her to harm somebody. So you could still hear voices, or you could hear the voice of God. I hate to use the word voices. You could hear the voice of God. But God is not going to tell you to do something that is detrimental to somebody else.
Right.
That's going to really community. That's my thing. So it's very delicate and very when people come up like, oh, God said I should go bomb this Empire State, whatever. God told me to go to the White House and shoot somebody. God is not God. We know that God is not that kind of a God. So that's where you kind of have to question, okay, what voices are they hearing?
Right.
Are they hearing the voice of God, or they're hearing? So I think in a case like that, I mean, we know in Paul's case, God spoke to Paul. We know that's what the Bible records. But in some other cases like that, when they go and do something bad, I feel like, okay, maybe you can say that is the delusional part of it. I don't know, that's where kind of, okay, that they are really hearing some negative voices. Because the way if you look at how our minds work, when the Bible when we are told that renewing our minds, the battlefield, the battle is usually in our minds. You're going to hear in those voices, so you now have to be able to discern through the help of the Holy Spirit, to discern which is the voice of God and which is not the voice of God. So yeah, those voices are there is what we let come out more. So I think that's kind of where that delusional and hallucination thing comes in. So
yeah, because I just found it interesting that they put it up under that title in this article.
They wanted us to think about that, like, think about that, chew on that a little bit. So I think they already know what the answer is. Yeah.
Right.
So one other thing, if you guys don't mind switching gears just a little bit, was them talking about the different classes of suicide.
That was
and how so here's where I'm confused again, because obviously the scripture says that that's a sin, right? That's how we usually interpret it. But it also talked about sacrifice being dedication, and I don't know where to go with this. It's just there's so many ways to interpret this, because it was talking about how it can be seen as praiseworthy or commendable, and that suicide was considered an honorable way to die as opposed to suffering. So how do Christians view it as a sin if it's interpreted like that?
Well, can I ask a question with a question?
Yeah, maybe.
Where is it in the Bible that says suicide is a sin?
Well, it just says thou shalt not kill.
It says thou shalt not kill. So we just tack on self onto that.
I don't believe that.
Right.
But most people that are Christians, they do.
You're right.
I voted for a self-assisted suicide in Colorado because I feel like that's somebody's individual choice. That's not on me. And I don't know what they're going through. Right. But do I agree with it? Not necessarily, but that's not my choice to make. So I don't know. A lot of Christians do.
You know what I've always asked myself? Like, I always kind of wonder, like you said, like there's nowhere in the Bible where it says talked about suicide, and I always wonder, okay, those people that kill themselves, what happens to them? I think I actually asked a friend that question. Do they then go to hell because they took their own lives?
Mm.
You know, does that make them not believe in God anymore? Like, what's it going to be like when they stand in front of God? How are they going to speak, or what's going to happen? So yeah, that makes me wonder too. Like, what is the sin about it? Fine, we're not supposed to kill. You can. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of something that I've often wondered. Like, what happens to them when they get in front of God? Like, are they going to make heaven because are they going to make hell, or go to hell because they took their own lives, or how is that going to be?
Alyssa's burning here.
I am on so many different points, but I'll hit this one because this is the one we're on. I am thankful that in believing in Jesus, he died for every single sin that I've done.
Right.
And every single sin that I'm going to do.
Right.
And to say that I am above making that decision myself would be, in my mind, being very prideful. Because I haven't gone through the same experience as these other people. And I don't know what the rest of my life is going to entail.
Right.
So to say that I'm never going to make that decision, I think is prideful and dangerous. To say that I have made the spiritual commitment and the commitment to stay away from that. Yes. Do I want to avoid that? Yes. But I don't know. I think that Jesus, I think grace, I think the mystery of God's grace is so much bigger than us figuring out what that looks like and what it's going to end up being for that person.
Right.
And I think that if that person really, I'm going to take a jump on this, but I think if that person knows Christ and has accepted his grace, then that's going to be in between him and Jesus. You know?
I agree.
And I mean, that can even go into a bigger picture of, let's talk about the people who have never heard the gospel, but have done their very best to, live by what they believe is right and wrong. What happens there? What is God going to say to them? Is he going to be like, too bad, like, you didn't choose me, even though you didn't hear about me? Like, and I'm not saying I know the answer to that. I think that would be prideful too, but I think I personally like to rest in the mystery of God, that he is so much bigger than that. And it's okay that we don't know the answers. Now, back to what you were saying, Jennifer, if I can, is I don't know that anywhere in the Bible does it say, like, it's honorable to commit suicide either. So, and I'm saying that I don't know because, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not in there.
But I guess we got to remember that this article encompasses other religions.
And that's what I was going to say, is I don't know that aspect of what the Jewish people did at that point was actually following Christ or following God, because we're talking old, I don't know what we're doing, 70 AD. So we are talking about after Jesus. But I don't know that that's necessarily them in the spiritual realm as much as what culturally they came to.
Right.
So I think that's the culture piece. Yeah.
And like people, like they talk about, not messing with God's timing, or they're playing God, things like that. And it's like, I get very frustrated. Like, how do they know that that's not God telling them this is your time? Like, do I think it's right? I don't know. Like, but it's not my life.
Right.
I don't know. And I had this come up with one of my patients because he was being kept because he was suicidal, but he had organized thoughts. He was, had great insight. But he had stage 4 cirrhosis of the liver. And he's like, I'm in pain every single day, and I don't want to die like this way. He's like, and I couldn't, they wanted me to go in there and be like, well, you got to find a reason to live. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I have to respect him and just focus on something totally different. If you guys want to talk to him about that, feel free, but I don't feel comfortable doing that because I feel like he's in the right state of mind. There was nothing that said otherwise, other than, you know, what people would consider danger to self. But I don't know, because he was rational, and he was like, you know, I told them if my blood work came back and it had improved, then I'll fight it. I'll do whatever I got to do. But if it comes back worse, he's like, this is just going to be slow misery. He's like, I don't want that, you know. So it was really hard, but I really respected him too, you know. So you just never know.
And that just take us to King Saul. I mean, where he fell on his sword.
Mm-hmm.
Was that right or wrong? But he did it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he didn't want to be captured.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a hard topic.
It
This
is.
a hard subject.
It's so common nowadays. Like, the rate at which the suicide is going is scary. Even among believers, you know, like even among Christians, this is happening. I was just reading something on Instagram today about a pastor that killed himself. You know, this is a pastor, a minister. So yeah, it's really tough. Nobody really has an answer to that. It's tough.
And we don't. Go ahead, Alicia.
I was just going to say, I think that's why it's so important for us to have these conversations and really wrestle with, what do I believe and why do I believe it? And then be able to have those conversations not only here in our discussion, but with people in the Christian realm, you know, and even outside of the Christian realm, to really talk about these stigmas. Because I think, you know, when we're not talking about it is when it's dangerous, in my mind. And when that conversation is like a shameful or guilt-ridden, you don't go there, I think that's when we're really doing a disservice, both in the Christian field and the counseling field. You know, it's got to be a conversation. It's got to be okay. And I think it's important for us personally to wrestle with it so that we're in a place where we are willing to have those conversations. Kind of what you were saying, Jennifer, that we're willing to wrestle with those, and we're willing to sit with people while they're in the midst of it. And I loved what you were saying, Jennifer. You did not impose your value system or your set of beliefs or anything on this client. You stood up for, you know, their autonomy. And I think that's really hard in cases, you know, but I respect how you dealt with that, to be honest. So
Right.
We just kind of worked on communication with his daughter, because his daughter was upset and things like that. I'm like, well, let's just talk about ways that you can talk to her without it being angry or whatever, for her not to understand, because you've got to understand where she's coming from too. So it was just kind of about better communication with his daughter.
mm-hmm.
But thank you.
Another note, just a side note, but I actually, looking back on it, I think I voted yes on that as well. I definitely fought with it back and forth. But then we were in residency 2, I think, and Dr. Burkhart was talking about how that comes back on us as counselors, that we have to sometimes write that note that says they are in a reasonable state of mind and they can make that decision. And that got real for me. Like, sitting with them is one thing, but signing that note, I don't know what I would do in that moment, you know? Like, it just got...
I asked that question.
Yeah?
To Dr. Burkhart.
Did you?
That's what the response was.
That was you? Thank you for asking it, because I was like, dang, and I
didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I still don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes
But
sense.
it's not up to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard, because for me, I'm one that goes like find something to live for. But again, I understand I have to respect their own wish. I not impose my beliefs on them. I don't know if I'll be able to sign that. It'd be hard for me. Like, yeah, so I don't know.
You don't have to, but you can.
Yeah.
Is that what it said?
for counselors. Now, doctors, things like that, it's different. But counselors have the choice.
Okay.
They
Okay.
can see. But here's the thing: if I've been working with this person and they come to me because they trust me,
Yep.
I'm not going to turn them away just because I'm uncomfortable with it.
Right.
You know, it's just like, you know, and he was talking about, like, you don't, like, if somebody came to you struggling with whether or not to have an abortion, well, would I want that? No, but that's not my choice, and I'm not in those circumstances. So, you know, it's hard stuff.
That goes back to empathy. You know, you meet them where they're at. And I always remember what Jesus did. And he met people where they were at. He did not judge anybody. And that's how I try to operate, because I don't know what people are going through. You know, I mean, all I can do is go by what they say, observe what they're doing, and meet them where they're at, you know.
This is a great conversation, y'all. I love this.
I do too. This is good stuff.
Even though it's hard, like, I love just talking with all you guys about this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, and for me, I think I don't necessarily see myself working as a, like, counselor that is a Christian counselor, like in a Christian counseling setting. I see myself more in that secular setting, at least for now. And so I think this conversation is also extremely interesting because let's say you're in a secular setting and you're working with a client that is or is not open to that aspect. How do you deal with that, you know? And it's going to be different for both of those. And I don't know, there's so many different inputs on this conversation that I think you could spend a whole class on it, really.
I know. Well, and all of us are like,
yeah. So my clock says we have a little under 6 minutes.
Okay.
We can. It's gonna go off. Then we'll come right back on again, and you just continue recording.
Get the log back in. And so that was my question: do you guys want to continue it, or do you want to, like, wrap up main ideas? 5 minutes.
So we have 5 minutes. We're not gonna be able to finish before it goes off. So even if it goes off,
wrap it up, because you don't want to upload 2 videos, right?
Not really.
Are there any last? In my mouth, I don't really want to talk a whole lot longer.
Right. And my kid is doing that out there, so I'm with you.
Yeah. I think this article just helped me to realize that this is something that I definitely need to keep at the forefront of my mind, and realize that even in the Bible, they talk about disabilities, substance abuse, and they talk about guilt and depression. And so what we're doing, what we will be doing is, for me, is the work of the Lord, is his hands down here, helping people who's in despair, you know.
And when he talks about alcohol-related mental health problems, again, from what I've seen in the where I work, you see a lot of problems that are alcohol-induced. You know, they come in, they try to get them off of the alcohol so that they can be normal again. So yeah, that's kind of, I thought I should throw that in there. Like, they have that too. Like, all cases is not always spiritual, whatever. It might just be something that they put in their body, something foreign that will create that. So yeah.
It's crazy how some things that are foreign can destroy you, and some things that are foreign can cure you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And drop the mic. That was a great intro into psychopharmacology. I love it.
I didn't even realize that.
If you could, like, title the notes that you're taking on that,
I will.
It'll be fun. All right.
So are we doing this every Tuesday then at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time?
Does that work for you guys?
6:30 works for me. Remember,
Yeah.
my day starts at 4 a.m.
But I
Holy-
had to get this done tonight. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Right.
no,
Oh, that's okay. That's
that
okay.
happens.
I'm
That
good.
happens.
I'm good.
Yeah. For right now, like I said, I'm okay with Tuesdays, but if I have to work, I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We'll just work every week if it doesn't work for you, okay?
Yeah.
I was also going to say our group, I don't know if you guys are getting the group email with everyone's addresses on
I'm
there.
not.
I'm not. So if you guys want to send me your email address you want, then I'll just send a group email to all of us,
Okay.
and then we can just use that thread.
I'm getting emails, but I don't know if you
We
guys
get
get
the
my
emails.
replies.
It's
I
just
don't know
like-
if you guys get my replies. So that's
Right. We get the emails and you can reply to all. You just want
I
to see
can't.
the email address.
I can't reply to all either.
I can't. It just says reply or forward.
Right. Me too.
Oh, okay.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just drop me an email maybe from your guys' email that you want us to use.
I think I sent you
You
mine.
did. I got yours. Yep.
right. Okay.
And then I'll just send it out to everybody so we don't have to continue to go back into the core shell to like send an email.
All right, ladies.
Okay. Well, you all have a good night.
Good night.
It's great talking to you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.